Growing up living on a family farm has taught me an immeasurable number of life lessons. Situations will always come with a challenge, and I will need great ambition to acquire what I want. Getting up an extra hour earlier in the morning to feed the cattle before school when my father is sick just comes with the territory. I have learned countless lessons from simply remembering to pull the parking brake on the tractor so that it will not roll back into a ditch, to strategically managing my time in order to get my duties done on the farm before I have to finish my homework. Living on a farm was not always an easy task, but I would not have wanted to grow up in any other place. Farming on the land that was owned and passed down by 5 generations is rare in this day and age. I wouldn't choose any other path but to continue farming on that same farm. But for some families, keeping the legacy of their previous generations going is not as important or comes as an immense challenge. The age of the American farmer is escalating rapidly, while the number of family farms in the United States is dramatically decreasing. The Farm Service Agency provides many types of loans to assist those farmers who qualify for it. These programs are targeted to young farmers and beginning farmers with limited economic resources and are unlikely to obtain loans from other lenders. This agency realizes all the obstacles such as startup costs and the limited availability of land that are associated with starting this occupation. Although these programs are being offered, not many young men and women are aware of these opportunities. There is more than just one factor that is hindering the growth of family farms in the United States. Dan Stykes is the CED at the Farm Service Agency. Stykes mentioned that the larger corporations are taking over small farms with their other larger equipment. The small farmers cannot compete with larger ones. Another big factor is the lack of labor. 20 years ago, every teenager around was looking to work on a farm. They don't like to get their hands dirty anymore, Stykes tells me. Stykes shares that there are many qualities that he learned growing up on the farm that children in this day and age are no longer learning because of the decrease in small farms.
I think growing up on a family farm promotes a strong work ethic in young people. Their efforts are at risk. They have to go out and actually invest time and energy and money in what they're doing. And if they don't do that, they see the decline of what they've invested in. Whereas if you were at a place like McDonald's or something, you could be a slacker. But I think that the record keeping that is involved with farming and being involved directly in a project where you see if I work harder, I'm going to get a bigger yield. If I work less, I'm going to get less yield. Or so you're right there with seeing the result of your inputs.
Family farms make up less than 1% of the population in the United States and have the responsibility of feeding 7 billion people. The aging of the farmer and rancher population has led a concern because new farmers often bring skill sets to complement and enhance the traditional management and production technologies. Without a young generation entering the field, technology cannot advance. Over 200 years ago, 90% of the U.S. population lived on farms and produced their food to eat. Today, only 1% of the population produces the food, including fruits, vegetables, meats, and dairy, that everyone eats. Farmers use technology to make advances in producing more food for a growing world. But if there are no longer men and women entering into the occupation, technology will no longer be advancing. In the years to come, it will continually become harder to feed over 7 billion people when there are 3,000 acres of productive land lost to development every day.
I think technology has really been amazing what they can do for the family farm, the acre of ground, what it can produce now. We've got better yields with fertilizer, better seed varieties, better pesticides. And so compared to what people were doing several years ago, the yields have increased significantly. So I think that has kept up with the demand to feed the world. However, we need to be aware that there's a breaking point, and if we don't stop this development of land that is for urban sprawl and things like that, we're going to have problems. So I do think that technology has kept up with the increased population, but we will have a problem one day.
I interviewed Jason Smith, one of the FFA advisors from Davis County High School, and was greatly informed on his views about how the FFA is spreading awareness of agriculture to students. In this day and age, most families are several generations removed from the farm, and students don't realize how much agriculture affects their lives on a daily basis.
Food is one of the most basic things humans need: food, shelter, and water. So I certainly think a basic understanding of agriculture and the way food's produced would certainly be something that people would need to know.
The FFA has impacted so many students' lives and helped to send them down the right path. Hunter Ann Julian is one of those many students.
Well, I grew up on a family farm, and I always wanted to go into agriculture in some way and how to help benefit farmers. And through FFA, I really learned that I'd like to go into some form of ag legislation. FFA helps me become more aware of some of the problems that farmers face, and so some people face problems keeping family farms. And I think the government could do a lot to help protect the farmer and help them to prosper. So I'd like to be a part of that, and FFA helped me discover that passion.
The FFA offers so many programs and opportunities to teach students about agriculture and to get them involved. If the FFA does not continue to do more to get students involved and conscious of the agriculture industry and the opportunities that it offers, we will continue to have a shortage in farmers. Advisors like Jason Smith are working hard to push students to find their passion in agriculture and give them the confidence to pursue it. If it were not for these many administrations fighting for small town family farms, children in the generations to come would not be able to benefit from the various life lessons that I have learned growing up on a family farm. Although owning a small family farm comes with its many challenges, farmers have learned how to roll with the punches and deal with it. That's what makes these men and women so strong and virtuous at what they do. The benefits of these farms outweigh the detriments that they face.